New Japan was back in action this week. They had one really good turnout, one completely embarrassing one, and another one that was kind of in the middle. The booking, meanwhile, displayed a lot of the bad habits that made that embarrassing attendance a reality. It was a sobering reminder to me of just how far this company has to go to be back on track. We also heard some very strong rumors regarding major exits, including two people who are or were faction leaders and one of the aces of the junior heavyweight division over the last 10 years. It has been an eventful week. Lots to get into. So with Jeremy Finestone, I'm Stephen Conway. This is Speaking of Strong Style. Welcome, everyone, to Speaking of Strong Style, where we discuss the news, issues, and events surrounding New Japan Pro Wrestling. We are contributors to the Fight Game Media Network. Jordan from Canada is here. Hello, Jordan. Glad you're with us. And for everybody here watching us live, it has been an eventful week, Jeremy. 3 shows and a lot of rumors. So I've just been taking it in and watching the shows and watching it with a different perspective when you know about some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that's bubbling. How did you feel watching this week's action?
I thought Blue Justice was just kind of there. I had a great time watching that first night at Korakuen, and I thought the second night didn't quite match up to it. So we were briefly talking before we started the show, and you had a completely different opinion about the show. And I'm like, okay, no, we're saving all of this for the show, and we're going to unpack all of this, and I'm going to hear what you have to say. You're going to hear what I'm going to have to say. But it felt like as soon as those shows were over, rumors started running about who was going what and where, and people that I've talked to, people that have become friends of the podcast, are reporting things. And later on in the show, or whenever we get to it, we'll unpack what they figured out.
Well, we're about to. And what I wanted to mention here and acknowledge is that Jeremy sent me some presents from Japan, from his Japanese trip. And
Stop
I got
telling people I'm a good guy. Come on.
Very cool Tanahashi New Japan Lion Mark shirt for his retirement. Very cool. I'm wearing it right now. And then he also sent me the Tokyo Dome program, which I'm displaying over here. So that is the program from the Wrestle Kingdom 20 show. So Jeremy, just want to say thank you very much for these. Very cool. A full color program that's just got stuff about every single wrestler involved, a little bit of history of Wrestle Kingdom in the first place. And this is going to be really fun to flip through and to keep as a momentum of a very big night in the company history.
I'm glad you like it. That artwork on that shirt is probably one of my most favorite pieces of art I've seen in a very long time. It is, you can't really buy it in the States. It's limited to being purchased in Japan just for various reasons. But I got you that shirt. I got a couple other people that shirt. But I don't know. I felt like you had a really big impact in me going to the show, and you got me some stuff last year. And I kind of thought that I would be kind of a dick if I didn't, reciprocate in kind the generosity you showed me in the past.
No. I wouldn't want you to feel that way. And I just wanted to mention too that it was really cool that when it arrived right here, this design here that, and I know this is great for podcast folks. Sorry about that, but it's a very cool artist rendering of the ace with a lot of flourishes to it.
He's holding like a baby lion to signify like all the young lions that he's brought into the world, and he's got his knee pads that say like "Thank you" from Tanahashi, and then it's got his like 1999 to 2026 on the other knee pad, with just various little flares and hints about like his entire career. It's almost like a tapestry in a way, all in one picture. And I just, as good as I thought, I was in love with it, and I bought myself a copy of that shirt. I bought a poster of that shirt. I'm going to frame it. I bought a little acrylic panel of that thing because, my God, I truly, truly love that image.
Nick Reeves mentioned if they put that ton of shirt on the online shop, it'd be broke. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And they also have the shop here in the United States anyway has one. It looks like it's the same artist because a lot of the little flourishes on this are reminiscent of it. But a Taichi shirt where he's sort of drawn in as well. My Taichi shirt has a lot of the same stuff. So I think that's the same resident artist that they're using. I don't know if he's in residence. Now that you mentioned it, they might have just added him as a freelancer. Whoever it is, outstanding work. The Taichi shirt jumped off the page at me, which is why I ordered it. And I mean, I'm a Taichi fan anyway. But I love the shirt. And then this is an even better version of it. It's an even better version of his work, and in full color. Very, very cool. So thank you, bud. Appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, no worries. I'm wearing I bought a Forever Ace hoodie. I'm wearing it right now. It's somewhat on the nerdier side. It's probably more of an indoor hoodie than an outdoor hoodie, but I bought a tracksuit. Gonna probably wear that on a special occasion here on the show. Okay. Bought a couple of t-shirts. Kind of want to commemorate the experience, and I'm probably actually going to take one of the t-shirts and stow it away as part of a project that I'm doing where I just have various t-shirts throughout my life. I'm going to make a quilt out of it.
Oh.
And, just kind of have like one of those, hey, now that I'm not wearing these shirts or whatever, just something that I look down and I just remember all these cool things that happened in my life, or events or shows or bands or
Do you recall, I'm putting you on the spot here, we didn't discuss this beforehand. Do you recall what the first wrestling shirt you ever bought was?
It was an Eddie Guerrero Latino Heat. I lie, I cheat, I steal.
Oh, nice. All right. Yeah.
Well, mine goes off the sleeve, and I took it to the gym.
You won't be surprised to hear that mine goes back quite a ways before that. It was a British Bulldogs shirt, and it was sort of a long sleeve tee that they had with the Union Jack on it and British Bulldogs for Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy Smith. They were still a team in the WWF then. So that was those were my guys. Dynamite Kid. I watched wrestling starting in 1983, but Dynamite Kid was the first time I looked at a guy and said, that's my favorite wrestler. So I
was born in 81. That ages both of us significantly, but it wasn't until probably, 96 or 97 when I wasn't watching wrestling where I had a little bit of autonomy because I was buying my own clothes instead of my parents. So the wrestling t-shirts, both stylistically, aesthetically, and getting permission didn't happen until I was much later in life.
I got that with my allowance. I was able to go to the merch stand with my allowance. I was able to get that. That's when t-shirts
freedom of expression with family.
I bet those shirts were like only $20 back then. God knows what they are now when you go to those things. All right. So by the way, Jeremy Orr, you mentioned that you were trying to find the Eggshells book by Chris Charlton. Couldn't I just put an Amazon link in the chat there? That is a link to his book if you want to get it. And Nick Reeves, he's going to make us feel old. He tells us that off the bat. Let's hear it. Sorry to date you both, but the first wrestling shirt I remember owning was a cheap $10 John Cena Walmart shirt when I was around 4th grade. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's all you need right there.
All good. We all have different roads to getting to the wrestling fandom.
Yeah. I bought mine at a house show when they came around South Bend.
Yeah,
that would have been
now when I go to shows with like my wife, she wants to buy shirts that like match because like she wants to commemorate the event. I look at her, I'm like, that's really sweet, but that's also like $100 fucking. I mean, like they're hoping that people will do that kind of thing, and like I'm into it, but I'm gonna take one of those shirts that from like 10 years ago, when Daniel Bryan became like a bad guy and they did like a wanted poster and it said wanted Daniel Bryan on it. I'm going to take that image and I'm going to put it as part of the quilt. And it's just going to be like things like that I might wear it from time to time, but I'm more likely to preserve it in like something like that than, just being one of the 75 t-shirts that I like went through. I'm like, oh my God, I need to do something with all of these. And that became the product. Anyone else have like way too many t-shirts? Like,
yeah. I have to get rid of some.
It's hard for me. Of your cool ones. Like there's like a deal where you go online and you mail them all off, and they make you a quilt with all like your unused t-shirts.
I honestly need to think about doing that because I'm way over on my they're just
we're old. We don't get rid of clothes. We just accumulate more. Like they just kind of like, oh, I got the really cool shirt from Japan. I'm not getting rid of any of my other shirts. It's just going into the pile.
I actually have a rule that if I buy a dress shirt or a polo shirt or something nice, I have to get rid of something one for one. That's my rule. And that is to keep me from having dress clothes that look like
not
going to a nice
situation like I'm in, where I'm completely like I don't even have room, and I'm just living out of laundry hampers.
Well, more than that too is I don't want to go to some nice restaurant looking like I fell out of something 20 years ago, a time capsule, just like, geez, that guy has
a grown
bought any
man that
new
doesn't
clothes.
know how to iron his own shirt.
Doesn't know how to take care of himself. So that's the thing. But I don't have that rule with t-shirts, and I really need that rule with t-shirts. That should be my rule with t-shirts. If I get one, I have to get rid of one, but I don't want to get rid of any.
This has been a struggle. Like, I don't know if you guys are in your 40s, but by the time you get your 40s, you're going to have a lot of t-shirts. Because you're going to want to buy t-shirts at all these places that you go to and you collect, and you shrink and you grow,
and then you're going to have so many t-shirts that by the time you cycle all the way through them, it's like 2 months, and then they don't even wear out.
Right?
They don't even wear out because you're only wearing them every other month or so. Yeah,
and you're like, and then you have the shirts that you're like, why did I buy that one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bought like a 4-pillar shirt, but it wasn't like the 4 pillars of AEW. It was like Britt Baker and Jungle Boy and Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara. And I looked at him like, wow, I must have been really stoned or something when I bought
it. That's always good to go shopping like that. All right.
Oh, goodness.
Let's get down to some business. We've been avoiding it. It was a rough week, but Venkin Bjorn is here, and he mentions it. He said, I'm here because I heard about Evil going to WWE. Well, that's what we heard too. So there's a whole slew of guys we've been talking about for a while. And, Jeremy got the audiobook. Excellent. I'm glad you got it. I think you're going to enjoy it. Here's the thing here, Jeremy. We have been hearing for a long time that David Finlay was a strong possibility to be heading back stateside. We had heard other rumors of other guys, and one of them was indeed the leader of House of Torture, Evil. And this past week, it has moved from something we've been hearing underground to something that sounds pretty likely to happen. Evil heading over to WWE. And of course, all the comparisons are already starting because he just, with the way Naito left, the way Okada left, and of course, Evil just did yeoman's work. Jeremy did really hard work putting over Aaron Wolf strong at Wrestle Kingdom. Is that going to be sort of one of, if not the last major impression of Evil in New Japan for now? What are your thoughts? It sounds like this is going to happen.
Well, first off, I would very much like to give credit where credit is due on this one, which is Joel from the Super J cast was the one that basically was able to unearth the majority of this information. And just asking around afterwards, it just seemed like all of it is all pretty viable. What I'm gonna be able to convey here. So, it looks like Evil's already wrestled his last match. He's not on the schedule moving forward. Those Korakuen shows might have been quietly his last goodbye. He's not on any of the shows coming up to the New Beginning in Osaka. He's not on the New Beginning in Osaka. After that, it seems like WWE is the destination for him, but there's never been a confirmation other than what Joel has said that seems like is the likely case. With that being said, his wife works there. He's networked there last year at Mania. There are opportunities for somebody like him there. But I don't know. I don't know yet, but I do know pretty certainly, even if you go look at that schedule right now, he's not in the plans. Like, they have moved on without him. It's Ren Narita. He has been a backbone for the company, sometimes getting shit on, sometimes not getting the credit he deserves. But as Chris Sampson mentioned to me offline, it's like he did what other guys didn't do on the way out, and they put over a young new talent to really set the bar going forward with Aaron Wolf. And now it's in Aaron Wolf's hands, but you can't say that guy didn't do everything in his power to, kick him down the hill with a ton of momentum.
Okay, yeah, and there's a few things. Venkin mentions, are he and EO actually married? I don't know. I don't know if they're actually married or not. I've heard the relationship's been going on.
It has been referred to me as husband and wife in recent past. So I am just going with has been conveyed to me.
I didn't know Shingo was married 2 weeks ago. So no, there you go. But, so they might very well be. Point being, they've been in a long-term relationship for a while. The other side of this, Ren Narita not getting enough credit. I'm not sure Ren Narita has done enough to deserve any credit
No, I'm
so
saying
far.
Evil.
I think. Well, Evil definitely is. But
Evil gets all the credit in the world. I don't know where Ren Narita came from.
Well, no, I'm just saying that Ren Narita is going to have to step up.
Oh,
and it's going to be his group, and we might have to finally see if he's really got enough to go with on this, because there are times I look at Narita and
be another guy.
I don't know. I don't know, and I wonder if there will be, just because Narita showed so little to me in terms of effort or particular ability to be a top guy in New Japan so far. Initiative for sure, yeah. And to me, partway it's just because he's the kind of guy that seems to take on the energy of whoever he was around, and they had him paired up with Sonata for so long that it just seems to have sapped any will, drive, or determination out of him for a minute. But because those guys were just so low effort together that it was hard to watch. He's going to have to step up or he's going to get run over. It's time for him to either become a star or prove that he's not going to be one. And Evil stepping aside is a good opportunity to really find out. It's time for Narita to show if he's got it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not convinced he does. And I really think that this whole, they dropped the whole Rei with Three Musketeers thing, but that we're going to get into it later. This generation, aside from Yota Tsuji, might be remembered as the biggest swing and miss of a generation of wrestlers in quite a long time, because things need to happen for anybody aside from Yota Tsuji to, make something out of it or be a mid-carder. And that's kind of what we're looking at there. And so Narita, he's the furthest back of any of them. And we're talking about Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura here. So hardly an impressive list, and yet Narita's in the back seat, and that's a little nerve-wracking to think. We'll see what they end up doing with House of Torture if Evil actually leaves, because he has been the one anchor there. We know that Evil can wrestle, and has when he's been in a spot where he wanted to. We saw that in the G1 final last year. He had a fantastic match. And my only thing is, I thought that what would help Narita a lot is if he were to turn on Evil, kick him out of the group, because two reasons. One, I think that would help Narita. Second of all, I think Evil proved in that G1 run that there's a little bit of babyface left in him that would have worked. I don't know if we're going to get that now, because this appears to be a little bit more imminent than all that. But we'll see what they do with Narita. There needs to be something where if Evil just walks away and they just say, okay, well, now Ren Narita is by default the leader of House of Torture, I think that's just going to land with a dull thud.
Well, I don't think you're wrong. I'm not sure that they have a catalytic event lined up to really put Ren Narita in the stratosphere as the bad guy leader of House of Torture, because there's a lot of big shoes to fill in that role. In all honesty, I mean, like, you could have argued like maybe Sonata if he was still going to be viable, but he's not. He's gone as well.
No. Well, he's gone and he can't wrestle anymore.
Yeah, he's good. My understanding is neck fusion surgery is on the card for him. So, there's no guarantee he's going to come back from that. So we gotta, temper any expectations from that. So if people are thinking that, hey, he's going to Noah, that's probably not going to happen in all honesty. And so somebody who might be going to Noah, though,
we'll get to him,
is Hiromu.
Hiromu
Takahashi appears, also credit to Super J-Cast. He appears to be on the way out. And the interesting story here, Stephen, is apparently there has been a push to get him to move to the heavyweight division. And you've seen that in the past where he was tagging with Naito and they were doing that, and they had that brief title run last year that interrupted by the Bucks, so on and so forth. But he's not interested in that. He wants to wrestle as a junior and he wants to continue with that. And so they're at an impasse. And, he's not a part of the junior heavyweight plans, and he doesn't want to be part of the heavyweight plans. And it's not end of the world, like never again with each other, but a deal's not going to be made. You know what I mean? And so suggested to me that he'll probably go hang out with his buddies, Noah.
Well, I mean, he spent a good chunk of last year as the GHC junior heavyweight champion, and he won their junior heavyweight tournament. He's been as much a Noah guy over the last 6 months as he has really a New Japan guy. The matches, I mean, he did more New Japan matches than he did Noah matches. He would kind of parachute into Noah for kind of big shows and then the tournament. But he's been a part of Noah's story for a lot of 2025. So it would be a fairly smooth transition over. If I think about Hiromu, and he's one of my favorite wrestlers over the last 10 years. We've talked about how he's a little bit more opponent dependent than he used to be. It used to be that Hiromu was the guy that could take anybody and carry them to a great match. Now Hiromu sort of needs someone to get him going, motivate him a little bit. And he can still do it. He had the best match at the Noah show you saw on New Year's Day.
Sure.
And perhaps just change of scenery is about right. I mean, what more can he really do in New Japan? It just doesn't seem like there is a whole lot left other than stuff he's already done several times. And so it might be time. As difficult as that is for me, because Hiromu's one of my favorite to watch, it's probably time to try something new for him. And Noah might be the spot. There are a couple of guys in Noah. Amakas is pretty good. This Odashima guy who's just learning the ropes over there on the cards in Noah, he's been pushed a little bit lately. I think he's part of their junior tag team championship team. That guy's a talented dude. If Hiromu can come over and help them out, then maybe that's the right time. And he can hang out with his friends. It seems like an obvious thing to join the Tranquilos, since Bushi and Naito are over there part-time. Again, they're not doing the full tours. Their bodies just aren't going to do that. So, but maybe Hiromu can carry that torch.
I mean, Hiromu in the junior heavyweight division in New Japan right now would round out the top 5, not be in the top 4. And arguably he would get that 5th spot off of legacy and tenure rather than, what he's accomplished in the junior heavyweight division as of late. Because he spent a lot of time in Noah. He wasn't particularly blowing anyone away in the Super Junior Tag League. Didn't do particularly well in the Best of Super Juniors this year. It's just they focused on Doki, Desperado, Akira, and Kosei Fujita, right? And so it looks to me like, you're getting to some level of Kosei Fujita, Akira really going to the next level within the next year, with Doki and Desperado kind of getting them there, is really the map for that. And as a result, that where does Hiromu fit in that? You know what I mean? Like, and if he's thinking he wants to be a bigger component to that division, I mean, they have to move forward. And this wouldn't be the first time, obviously, that New Japan talent downshifted to Noah because of the opportunities to be in a top spot on that card with their tenure, downshifting is pretty common, Yeah.
And of course, we've got a United Empire Unbound Company thing going right now that they're probably going to work through to New Beginning, maybe a little bit after, but it's something that I think Unbound Company is mostly going to put over the top guys from United Empire. I think Newman is about to have a pretty strong run with things.
Speaking of Newman, he's one of the first to sign a multi-year contract in a while. So
he mentioned that on his post-match comments. And
3 years.
Yeah. And which is why they're putting so much faith in him as far as storylines go, because they know he's going to be around. I am finally, before he goes, going to get my dream junior heavyweight tag team, by the way. Hiromu and Taiji Ishimori are going to team up at the New Beginning in Osaka. Interesting point about that, going back to the House of Torture discussion. Ren Narita is the only member of House of Torture booked on that show in Osaka at this point. I mean, I have no doubt that there's going to be interference and gaga in that match. But as far as having a match, the only House of Torture guy right now is Narita challenging Aaron Wolf for that never openweight title.
So what? Him, Show, and Doki are pretty much the viable guys in that faction right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so there might be others joining. Who knows? You know how they do that stuff. But
can't wait for Finlay to have his big run in the springtime as the new literal heavy of the group.
But if Evil's gone, it is strange. And Benkin mentions the same thing. It's like how would you even do that? Put over Narita, just have him do a backstage interview that says I'm the leader now. You know, like it's so strange.
I think he just does the sneering. I sent that coward away. He couldn't even face anyone on his way out. I'm the new leader, and then you just put him on a run where either him or whoever is the guy has a really good New Japan Cup.
Yeah, I don't think he should beat Aaron Wolf. I don't think he's going to beat Aaron Wolf.
No.
So in that case, then you can have the whole thing. And House of Torture has been booked outside of Doki as being losers since Wrestle Kingdom. And there haven't been very many shows since Wrestle Kingdom, but they granted, but that's been the story. They lost.
They lost in the main event of Blue Justice, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
They lost most of their matches over the course of the two Korakuen, except for the Doki match. And so it might be a thing where Narita loses the match at New Beginning and they have to kind of tuck tail and regroup and come up with something else, whether it's a new member or a new approach. Or whenever you see a faction in New Japan, United Empire just went through all this where they just look like losers. That's like the last thing that happens before there's a big surge forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever they have in mind post Watanabe, post Evil, I think it's already in motion because I think they're going to tear them down before they build them back up. And that seems to be in process.
I keep running back to the idea that of this new generation, we have 3 baby faces and 1 heel, and I think we need 2 baby faces and 2 heels of the people that they're trying to spotlight in this current generation. And I wonder if what is going on with the tag division is kind of perpetuating that direction.
Yeah, I hope so. And we're going to talk about that because something needs to go on there. And Nick says, in hindsight, I wonder if they'd have put Jake Lee in House of Torture had they known Evil was leaving. I felt he would have been a natural fit. It's a fair question.
Oh, no, I think this is much better spot for him.
Yeah, I like the United Empire thing, but it is a fair question, isn't it? That would they have just slid him over into that spot? But I don't think this thing with Evil would have come out of left field.
No, I don't.
Watanabe and Tanahashi are tight. There's been a connection with those guys ever since Evil was a young lion, and Tanahashi has always taken pretty good care of him. And
with Tanahashi leaving, this is a natural time for him to just kind of bow out too.
Yeah. It's. I feel strongly that probably Evil was not going to blindside Tana on this one. I just feel like
I think there was probably a fair amount of, hey, I'm going to do this thing with Aaron Wolf and then I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm going to do this right. Like, as Samson said, this dude's the company man. You know what I mean? Like, you've never heard a bad thing about Evil from anyone other than the fans that don't like watching his matches.
Yeah. And Jordan from Canada mentions maybe they could punt Narita and try him as a sympathetic babyface. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I just feel like something's brewing with House of Torture and it's already in motion. But I know you might kick out Ren. I think he would be better off being the leader than joining Hantai or joining another faction. Just seems like they should at least try.
House of Torture?
Why not?
Do they dissolve House of Torture?
I mean, they might. They could. They seem to be recycling through a lot of these guys. They retired Bullet Club altogether now.
Yeah, they pretty much got rid of any faction that was there during Okada and Naito and Tanahashi.
Chaos is gone. Suzuki.
We have. I looked it up. Hantai is still there, but TMDK was established, I think, in 2023. United Empire was established in 2020, and House of Torture was established in 2021, which is all kind of this after that era going to the pandemic. So everything that's been created has been pandemic and on. So all these factions, LIJ, Bullet Club, Suzuki-gun, they're all gone. Chaos. They're all gone. Like they have shifted through all of these factions. Their shelf life is done. Whatever their karma dating, whatever it is, like it's over, and it's time for fresh factions and fresh ideas. I don't believe United Empire or TMDK are going anywhere anytime soon, but House of Torture is pretty much like a wild card right now. They could do whatever.
So do you think Finlay's headed out also?
I think it's very likely, but I don't think that anything's set in stone.
Yeah, pen may not be to paper on that one. They're still protecting themselves big because they have him sidelined to the point that, if he left tomorrow, it really wouldn't affect the storyline much.
No.
Right now, he and Newman are jawing at each other as they would, and they're set to face off at Osaka, I think, right? Is when New Beginning.
But if he put over Newman on the way out,
yep,
and he was done,
yep,
like perfect, great.
Yep.
If if he stuck around, he's kind of hit a ceiling. And being a second or a third in a faction behind Shingo and Yoda feels like a downgrade for him professionally in the company. And this is his best opportunity to be seen as a top guy going to another promotion and really having to potentially start from the bottom. But having that opportunity and that cachet of having his positioning stronger than it's ever been. Mm-hmm. If I had to guess, WWE, I don't particularly think that there is a mutual appreciation between AEW and him. I've never really seen him do much on AEW if he didn't have to. So that's kind of my read of it, but I don't have anything other than supposition and what I've seen to kind of base that through. As for Gabe Kidd, I mean, we all kind of think he's going to AEW. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be shocked if you heard that WWE was making a play for him, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you at least try and see if you could get this guy from?
That would feel more like you're just trying to pump up the asking price for Tony on that one. It just doesn't. I honestly don't know what value he would really bring to WWE. He's just not a WWE style guy.
I mean, their vision and what they want to do with some of these guys, I could see them trying to make it work. There are people out there that would see Gabe Kidd and think he was a much better fit for WWE than Evil. And there are people that would see that and think that Evil is a much better fit for WWE than Gabe Kidd. Unless they both go to WWE, we're never going to know for sure. You know what I mean? It's just one of those. These are all just assumptions that we make about, what their qualities, what their strengths, and how they're matched into these promotions that they then move on to. So there's a possibility Gabe Kidd goes to AEW and has a dual contract. He comes back and forth. But whatever it is, it's going to be significantly in favor of whatever other promotion is paying him more.
And then Nick Reeves thinks that Evil fits way better in WWE than Gabe. Yeah, I kind of think so too. I'm not saying that Gabe couldn't do it. I'm just saying I wonder if WWE would look at Gabe and just think, "Oh, we can do something with that guy." Really? Can you?
Right.
Probably, maybe. And then Venkin says, "I want to see WWE Evil." I'm not sure what.
Don't put him in. He doesn't want to put him with the Tongans.
With the Tongans,
the NFTs or whatever.
And then Nick Reeves mentioned, I watched Finlay wrestle Hangman live in Dynamite in 2022, and I don't think he appeared there again. He hasn't done much with them that I recall. And Nick also says, it feels like the love the domestic audience has for House of Torture, which I think is overblown, by the way. It does not show up in ticket sales. Let's put it that way. Is specifically tied to their love of Evil and not the rest of the crew. To a greater degree, even than Naito and LIJ, it was easier for LIJ to continue in some form with how popular the rest of the members were than it will be for HOT without Evil. Yeah, that's probably true, because at least Shingo had fans, Hiromu had fans. House of Torture without Evil is just kind of a bunch of guys who don't win very much. So
bunch of goons.
Let's see. And Jordan from Canada says he sees a lot of Steve Austin and Kidd. Shout out to the channel Rantin and Reviews. Pro Wrestling. He's calling Kidd a future star for years now. Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll see. I think he's probably going to go to AEW and be another guy there. So, but maybe he'll break out of the pack. But AEW is a hard pack to break out of because it's hard to make stars when you don't. It's hard to make stars when you don't have stars. And
he's
AEW
already
doesn't
positioned
really
with
have
the Death Rider, which is already a better place than a majority of the roster. I mean, it's his spot to lose and his momentum to lose, but with the way that AEW goes through talent with injuries and just everything, at any given point, he could be given the ball and run with it. He does have main event energy, and there's going to come a day where, like, a match between, say, Hangman and Gabe Kidd is going to be the main event of a show, and people are going to go the nuts for it. And I can't say that they're wrong.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll see what the year brings for AEW. It'll be interesting because it'll be interesting just because it doesn't seem like a whole lot's moving any needles for them, but it's a lot of the same guys. So Gabe Kidd, the Death Rider arc, yeah, and Jeremy's asking, how do they handle this in your opinion with all the guys leaving? Well, they've protected themselves a little bit, right? We mentioned that David Finlay and Gabe Kidd have been out of the storyline mix. I mean, really, if they left tomorrow, not a whole lot would change in the storylines. Evil's a bit of a different story, but like we mentioned earlier, we think that there is something brewing with House of Torture, the loss after loss after loss. Narita being the only guy booked at the New Beginning show where we think he's going to lose to Aaron Wolf. It's too early to beat Aaron, I think. They'd be crazy to do that. But New Japan makes a lot of mistakes, so we'll see. But it just feels like something's brewing there, so they're protecting themselves on that. Hiromu would be a loss, but the junior heavyweight division has moved on a bit from Hiromu. It's more Desperados group. It's more Doki's division now. Fujita and Eagles are coming up. Fujita in particular, I think, is the next ace. Hiromu was kind of on the way down that slide there. I just don't think he was going to be the force that he was. So if anything, it might just be good for the bookers to have a clean break from these guys, and it's going to force their hand. They are already putting a lot into Callum Newman. They believe in him. He's a talented guy. I think it's probably going to be a good bet. I think Newman's going to have terrific matches. He seems to have a pretty good heel attitude. Francesco Akira, another terrific junior heavyweight guy that can be in that division. So they protected themselves a little bit, and I think it's going to force them to look at some other people in prominent positions, which might be just what the company needs, because let's face it, 2025 is a bad year. It was just a bad year, especially the second half of it. And what we saw this week, there's still troubling signs business-wise. So because that first Korakuen Hall show was an absolutely embarrassing number attendance. And so I think they do need to push new people. We've been saying it for months on this show. They need to get behind people and push. So it might force them to do so. So how do they handle it? I think you got to go with the new guys, with new guys on top, and that's gonna help. And Jordan says, I feel bad for people leaving New Japan. They need long-term commitment. Maybe they need to make sure talent are not interested in the big two, like AEW has done with talent who may want to go to WWE. The key is they would have to get a lot of money from Bushiroad to make that happen. And the Japanese economy is tough. You got to pay them an awful lot just to come out even in Japanese money. And New Japan doesn't have that kind of money. I mean, keep in mind, Tony's just spending his inheritance. He's spending his dad's money doing this. And he's profitable because he got a good television deal. So, but the key is he doesn't care. Yeah, like he's got billions, and his dad has billions, and he's gotten a lot from his dad. So he's just spending his dad's money. And WWE is, God knows, they're just swimming in cash with some of the sponsorship deals they have and the TV deals they have. So New Japan can't just pay people not to leave. They can't really afford to, unless Bushiroad just opens up the pockets and just says, here, do whatever you want. And there's no evidence that that's coming. They have zero history of doing so. New Japan is kind of expected to sustain itself, and a rough Japanese economy and a low period in terms of interest for New Japan means that they're probably not going to have the purse strings to do that. So it's going to have to come from creative, not from just money whipping the problem.
I mean, we're in a different period than we were a couple of years ago. The fact that Callum Newman has a multi-year contract instead of going year by year by year is a good thing, in my opinion. They don't need to have a lot of people on multi-year contracts, but there are key people that are foreigners that they kind of need to lock in on a longer basis so they can tell longer stories and invest them within the roster without fear of removing them without completing whatever arc is built for them and the homegrown talent that they're also trying to advance with these wrestlers as a foil and vice versa. So things are changing. Things are going to be different moving forward. I do think that you are right in that 2025 was not the best year. And in hindsight, they stuck way too much on the Tanahashi retirement and did not step on the gas with the progression of the younger talent. And now it seems that was completely and deliberately by design. They didn't want to have two concurrent areas of momentum at the same time. And we're going to argue about whether or not this is going to be viable in the long run. But the reality is this is what they did. We are seeing now in January of 26, the day after Tanahashi left, became this moment of like, okay, Yota Tsuji's the guy. He's not smiling at everybody anymore. He's the ass-kicking champion that is like, you go through me and you have to wrestle in New Japan to get a title shot. All of these great things. And now you have an opportunity, with these Korakuen shows to get these younger talent and really put them in a place of spotlight. But I'm not shocked that these tickets didn't sell out. I'm not at all shocked. It's going to take a little while for this word of mouth, this idea that like, hey, this is a different product. Like we're seeing Shota and Yuya do these 30-minute, like absolute strong style brawls. And we're getting these great, like never matches at the top of the card. This feels different than the last like 6 months, year, 2 years. This feels like they're doing something new. And so I think Jake Lee is a really good first opponent for Yota Tsuji. I think, what they're doing there is a really strong event. I'm really excited for New Beginnings in Osaka. I looked at that card, those 8 matches up and down, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm here for all of this. And I get that, after Tanahashi's gone, the seats are empty and people aren't there. But how you get those seats filled is you have shows like Monday where you're just watching it. It's like, okay, stuff is happening and I am invested in these top matches, and there's something at the lower level of the card, even though I know you have critiques about that show in general that I'm actually dying to hear. We are in a position right now where it's honestly really exciting to be in New Japan. There are a lot of, the road is open ahead of us, and there is a lot of ground to cover, and it could be rough terrain. It could be a paradise. I'm not sure, but it does feel really exciting to be watching New Japan at this exact moment.
All right. So a couple other things that mentioned. Nick mentions that they probably could sign Callum longer term because the Western interest isn't there like it is for others.
Yeah, but you find the right people that, like if Hartley Jackson 2 years, Akira 3 years, he's a perfect guy to have for 3 years. Yeah. And then whatever happens.
Yeah. Benkin mentions, and in the end, New Japan will always have Zach. And yeah, Zach is a strong guy. He's a great wrestler. He's one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. Unfortunately, Zach is proven that he's not a ticket seller at this point. But that's one. He's great to have on the shows. I
wouldn't necessarily blanket assume that he's going to be there forever. I think he'll be there for a long time, but things change for everybody.
Yeah. And then Jordan, we'll get to that last question here a little bit later because got thoughts. All right, we need to talk about these shows here. So we talk about the people that are leaving. Here are the people that are staying. The first one was Blue Justice. It was on Sunday. It was in Chiba. This is the Blue Justice shows presented by Yuji Nagata, and it's in his home prefecture of his home area, rather, not prefecture. It's his hometown of Chiba, and specifically the Sakura neighborhood of Chiba. It's a city within the city, so to speak, there. And this show drew 1,650 people, which is almost what is it? Something like 400 or 500 more than last year. He's the best promoter that New Japan has right now. He brought in the people for this, which is very much a house show. But the people there do love Nagata, and they showed up for it. The undercard of this was nothing particularly to speak of, but the main event was Aaron Wolf, Oleg Boltin, Toriano, and Nagata, of course, defeating the House of Torture, Dick Togo, Evil, Ren Narita, and Yujiro. Wolf ended up winning the match with a triangle leg choke. Wolf did slam, pretty good elbow drop, and not a whole lot else. Again, this is very smart. They are easing him into things. So he only did a few things. Everything he did pretty well. And he sold a little bit, and the selling was all right. So overall, nothing wrong with that. They get the win at the end. It's the type of show where you're going to have the happy ending. This is not something that's going to set it up for later.
We're getting the Yuji Nagata salute at the end. It's like the John Cena guys. The heroes are standing tall, regardless of how everything else. It's Blue Justice.
Yeah, it is. And that building, as you mentioned, is about to be renovated, and it will not be there next year. And Yuji Nagata delighted the fans in Chiba who love him. They just love him there. And they, by saying that, well, I'll be back in 2 years. We'll have to do the next year's show somewhere else, but I can't wait to be back in 2 years. Back here at the newly renovated Civic Gym.
To hang it up. He just won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Justice
must be served.
Not what he used to be, but he can still go. And they brought Tenzan in the ring. Tenzan on his 35th anniversary. Tenzan, unfortunately, just not able to go anymore, to the point that he had to kind of hold on to the top rope in the ring because his body is the nerve damage there has really taken over on here.
Tanahashi with the fresh cut.
Well,
we front, in the back.
We asked Jeremy, how long would it be before Tanahashi shows up again? And he was gone for one show. One show. New Year's Dash. And I told you, he's not going to be able to stay away. And he probably shouldn't. He's a goodwill ambassador of the highest order.
He cut his hair. He's not the star of the show. It's whatever.
He wasn't trying to be, but I'm just saying, like, is he going to go away? No, I think he's going to be doing a lot of fan service at these.
Probably. They need him. It's fine. Whatever. I got a kick out of watching him get a haircut and just watching his soul kind of die a little bit, getting the haircut, and then kind of coming back yeah, I'm a good looking old man.
my girlfriend was not okay with him getting his haircut. She was a little worried about that one.
She's a little verklempt.
I don't know. It's weird.
Did you at all notice that Okada beat Tanahashi so bad that Tanahashi got a haircut to look just like Okada?
Who did you see? Was it Kenta that had the funniest line? Kenta's funny anyway, but he got his hair. He changed his hair also. And somebody asked him about it. Did I mention that? Maybe I mentioned this last week or something, but they said, what kind of color do you want? And he says, I want you to go past Okada, but stop before you get to Wato, which I thought was really funny.
That's a sweet spot right there.
Yeah, that's it. He says, go past Okada, but before you get to Wato, hold up. That's a little more than I want.
Yeah, there wasn't much to the Blue Justice show, in all honesty. It was cute. It was like a fun show. It actually kind of did not set me up for the slap in the face that was the Korakuen show.
So, yeah, I was feeling good about it because, I mean, a lot of people were in town post Wrestle Kingdom. So a lot of people went to New Year's Dash, had a pretty solid turnout for New Year's Dash, much bigger than when I was there the previous year. And then Blue Justice had a good turnout. So I thought, oh, okay, all right, maybe things are getting on track. Maybe people are interested. And then Monday came in Korakuen Hall and 1,009 showed up.
Not 1,090, 1,009.
Like 10 people away from 3 digits in Korakuen Hall. One of the lowest crowds of any promotion in January. And Korakuen's been run a lot in January. And this was one of
Young Lion Cup, not a draw.
One of the dirt worst. Oh, that's not the problem, Jeremy.
I'm kidding, Steven.
Not the problem, Jeremy. Yeah. Okay. So here we go with this show that 400 empty seats, and just embarrassing. But we'll get to why I think happened anyway. Young Lion Cup match in the first round is not the problem, but the first match was Masatori Yasuda and Tetsuya Matsumoto. And standard stuff, really, a Young Lion match with a Boston Crab finish. Yasuda wins. So far, I'll just say this as we go through this. The Young Lion Cup is all chalk, meaning it's the favorites have won all the matches, and it's basically been booked by seniority, with one small exception that we're going to get to that was an angle, and I think a smart one. So we're about to get to that one. So Yasuda moves on. Matsumoto is the most junior of all the Young Lions, and he's out in the first round, of course. But Matsumoto is still part of the Goto Revolutionary Army, such as it is. And Yasuda works a lot with Taichi, but is unaffiliated as at this point. Next match, Young Lion Cup, Daiki Nagai, Zane J. Nagai, of course, part of Unbound Company. Zane had wrestled for quite a while before he even joined up with NJPW Strong, let alone came out to the Noge Dojo. A lot more practical in-ring experience than the other Lions. They recognize this. I'm sure that his time in the dojo, he learned some things, some fundamental things, a little foundational things of the New Japan strong style. But he didn't need to be in there longer. The guy was a pro wrestler, right? It's not like he needs to learn how to wrestle in the way that a lot of young Lions do. Callum Newman came out during this match, offered up a chair to Zane J, and said, "You know what to do. It's time. Never mind this Young Lion Cup. The hell with it. That's not the point, is it? That's not what you want, is it?" And Zane J thought about it for a while and said, "Nope, that's not what I want." And he whacked Daiki Nagai, poor Nagai, with the chair over the head, which was gimmicked nicely so that the seat gave way and didn't cause too much damage. And he got it there, didn't get any of the frame of the chair on the guy. So about as good of a shot to the head as you're going to get with a chair. And was disqualified, never minded the Young Lion Cup. Afterwards, officially joined United Empire and showed a little of that heel attitude in the preview or the post-match comments a little bit there. And I think this is the right move, Jeremy. I don't think he needed to spend a whole lot of time as a Lion, and this is the right faction for him. I thought it was a good, smart move, and someone that can take the pressure of eating pins away from Jacob Austin Young, so it just doesn't have to be him over and over again. Young's a talented guy. It is time for him to move up a little bit.
This is one of those moments where, in and of itself, it is innocuous, and it's just kind of a detail set forward for the year. But in the macro, it's kind of indicative of, okay, things are happening in New Japan. Like we are moving forward. We are not doing the glacier pace. It is January of 26. We are probably spending the next 2 months having major shifts along the entire roster with alignments and changes. And it started with the Young Lions, it started with Zane J aligning with United Empire. United Empire is the hot flavor of the month right now. It's like they're really building that faction. As much as they're downshifting House of Torture, they're upshifting with United Empire. Like across the board, this is the faction. They're trying to get Akira ready in the junior heavyweights. They're getting Jake Lee and Andrade ready for each of the titles in the big division. It's like this is where we're at, and I think Zane J being the pin eater at the younger level is great for Jacob Austin Young. Yeah. I think that I think this is turning into a really viable, strong faction that, frankly speaking, we were not talking about it this way a month ago.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. So after that, we had a few preview tags. I'll mention just a couple of things from like Aaron Wolf was in one with the rest of the guys from Hantai, and they beat House of Torture. I mentioned House of Torture, with the exception of one match, pretty much had a rough week. It was a Vindeval finish on that one. Wato getting the win over Dick Togo. Wolf used a suplex in that one that looked pretty good. Used a slam, used his elbow drop. I said this is exactly what I was talking about, Jeremy. have him do 2 things, and then the next day maybe 3 things,
Yep.
and the next day maybe 4, and that's what we're seeing. But the worst thing in the world they could do is make him look ordinary, and I have to say they aren't doing it. So far so good. He's only doing things he's good at in public. You work on the stuff he's not good at in the dojo, or work on it before the show, in the ring, before the crowd gets in. When he's in the ring, the only thing he should do is the stuff he knows how to do and can make look good. That's all he needs to do right now. And so far, so good.
His hair's already starting to grow out again. I wonder what his style is going to go with.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to grow the curly line. He had pretty good hair before.
He did.
Before. Yeah.
But it could just be a completely new style for him going forward.
Mini angle took place in the next match where Shingo Takagi and the rest of Unbound Company were facing United Empire, and Jake Lee sunk a big knee into Shingo's ribs, and he sold it like crazy, like he'd been badly hurt. It's about time for Shingo to take a week off or so. Go figure. And so he took that knee there and just kind of rolled out of the ring and stayed there the rest of the time. So they were doing a bit of an injury angle with that one. Akira won that one with a modified fireball. They don't even have a name for that move yet. It's so new. And they just called it a modified Emerald Flosion on the website. So I hope he names it soon. We'll find out. He didn't in post-match comments quite yet. And then after that, we had 2 singles matches that stunk on ice. So the first one was Sho defeating Kosei Fujita by disqualification. Tons of gaga on this one. DQ finish when Fujita hit Sho with the Black Mirror. It stunk. Worst Kosei Fujita match in a while. And then Kanemaru against Robbie Eagles, which also was pretty quick. Nothing to it. He cheated, whiskey, head scissors for the win, all to set up the junior heavyweight title match. So, in this one, the Kanemaru and Sho won these 2 matches. So, I mean, it's not like House of Torture lost out, but nevertheless, these were pretty bad matches that didn't help anybody. So no one came out of these looking good, but it was leading to the title match the next night. And if you're going to do this to set up a title match, these 2 singles matches, and then work them like this, just don't bother. just don't. This did not help.
I just wonder if they ran out of people to wrestle on the show, and they needed to like figure it out, and they didn't want it. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty rare to have 4 singles matches on a card at Korakuen.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of who it is.
And the Young Lion matches were better than these 2.
They lasted longer.
Pretty much.
The combination of these 2 matches went 10 minutes, and the combination of the Young Lion matches went almost like 17 minutes total.
Yeah, pretty rough. All right. After that, we had the Never Open Weight. Now the show picks up because the next 2 matches are terrific. Never Open Weight 6-man tag team title match. Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, and Bolton. They face champions Hartley Jackson, Ryohei Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. This match was excellent. I recommend you go back and watch it. My issue here, Jeremy, is not the action. The action is terrific. My issue is the booking again. And I think we are just seeing some more of those New Japan bad habits here because in the match itself, terrific wrestling. Bolton did the gut wrenches on Hartley.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is a strong dude, which we knew anyway. But just seeing him do the gut wrenches on Hartley Jackson, that was a lot. And in the end, though, it was the Shota with Bishamon added in the splash from Bolton at the same time. And they pinned Ryohei Oiwa. Damn it. So, first of all, TMDK one and done. So they win the titles at Wrestle Kingdom and then immediately lose them like a week or so, 10 days later, or whatever it is.
These titles don't matter.
If they were going to do this, though, why not have Bishamon win it in the Dome? Why not have Bishamon and Bolton win it in the Dome? The TMDK could have challenged, and it would have been a legitimate challenge. They were the last 2 left. And then they could have just said, well, we want a shot one-on-one instead of in this schmaz of a terrible match at Wrestle Kingdom. And it could have been a really good match and a defense that may have looked like, oh, well, they won the title at Wrestle Kingdom. Now they've beaten one of the best 3-man teams in the whole company. Maybe we got something here. Instead, they beat Oiwa again, which you got Hartley in the match and you beat Oiwa. And then again, we're just throwing around title belts. It's just more of the bad habits of this title doesn't matter. Well, the fans have picked up on that, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody showed
They
up.
have. I mean, the match itself was good, and they were there for the guys in it, but the titles itself feel pretty secondary. Have you seen the matches that have been made for the first and the second?
Yeah, they're going to do a series of singles matches with these teams against each other. So it's going to be Jackson versus Bolton. It's going to be Goto versus Oiwa, and it's going to be Zack versus Yoshihashi. And you can probably figure out by those matchups who's going to win what.
Would it really surprise you if Oiwa beat Goto in that match?
Right now, you can't. There's no consistency in anything here. So if he did, I mean, they've damaged Oiwa so much. I'm not even sure that would help him all that much.
The backstage comments and all this really have me believing that Oiwa is demanding this singles match with Goto, and he believes that he is going to beat him. Oiwa's the guy in a lot of this that I think people shouldn't sleep on. Like we talk about Yuya, we talk about Ren, we talk about Shota, but Oiwa's got something that they don't have, and it's just like that brawler mentality kind of thing. And I think there's a real opportunity in the next couple of weeks to give him his shine by beating Goto, who, like, frankly speaking, he got his title run, but they're using that to elevate other people now rather than to keep him protected. So if they're going to do that, they might as well do it with Oiwa in the singles match.
Well, why beat him in this one, though? I mean, he got Hartley there. Why beat Oiwa on this? It's just like so many unforced errors from this company. It's just they just make him look like a putz again. They win the title and they can't hold on to it.
To kind of take him down. They did the Shoto or whatever with Oleg Bolton smashing him, and then they did the GTR. It wasn't like it took one move to put him down. It took the three guys and then like Goto putting the finishing touch on it.
So the first one's going to be Bolton versus Jackson. You can figure out Bolton's going to win that one. And then it's going to be Zack versus Yoshihashi. So then you figure Zack's going to win that one. It's one-on-one going into the last one. We'll preview all that as we get closer to the dates because we have next week to do that too.
So I don't know. Like you wonder what the logic is. Maybe it's trying to get, the parody booking where the parody booking at the end has Oiwa going over. I don't agree with parody booking, but it's so common nowadays that you just have to figure it into the equation.
And it doesn't friggin' work. There's no evidence zero evidence the parody booking works.
Like, I like that Yota Tsuji doesn't get parody booking. That dude is a winner. Like that's why he's looking the way he's looking right now.
Oh, by the way, one other thing is they're trying to get Jake Lee to antagonize Tsuji into giving him a title match, which would manifest itself the next day. So he did beat down Tsuji a little bit after that match between United Empire and
choked him out and put him in what, like a funeral procession pose, or was that the next night?
Yeah, he did a little bit of that. And so then we had the number one contendership match: Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura against Taichi and Tomohiro Ishii. This match was fan-freaking-tastic. It was a really good match. The Knockout Brothers were there. They sat ringside, did not interfere or anything. At first, Taichi and Ishii didn't sell very much early, and they were kind of bullying Shota and Yuya as if they were still young lions and trying to put them in their place. So when the young lions made their comeback, there was a little bit of subtext to that. Really well done. Good drama throughout the match. I recommend everybody going back and watching this one. It's a long one. It's a half an hour long, but it is worth the time, and it does not feel like a half hour long. And Umino ended up winning the whole thing with the second chapter. Before we go into the post-match stuff, which is significant, there are things said here that could end up being important. Jeremy, talk to us about this one, because as far as action goes, loved it.
So this is one of those chain wrestling style matches where everything just kind of led into the next thing. Like, these were four pros with, frankly speaking, Yuya being the young gun in this entire thing. And if you're thinking about it like that, it's like you've got some real experience in this match. And
Shota's the youngest, but I know what you mean. Yeah,
but like Yuya is the one with the least amount of time in the New Japan ring from after Excursion and all that with the
fair enough.
And you think about last year at this time, Shota was cutting his hair and getting his ass kicked by Great-O-Khan, and Yuya wasn't even back yet from the elbow injury. So you're seeing them here, and you're seeing kind of like the restart of their run. And this is basically that mission statement match where you have the gatekeeping older guys that want that title shot. You have the young guns that like have lost to the champions a couple of times and are fighting for it back. And then you have a match where the consequences of getting a title shot mean something. These guys are fighting tooth and nail for 30 minutes, breaking up pins, bloodying faces, all of these tag team maneuvers that you don't typically see from these guys, creativity and synergy. It reminds me a lot of FTR matches with really good opponents where, you just have a really strong, two really strong sets of partners that are working with each other, and they are just laying it in to the other team. It's like this is an incredibly physical match. Ishii's already coming in with a busted nose, and about 15 minutes in, he's breathing gallons of air through his mouth because his nose is bloodied through, and he's still going at 65 miles an hour. These guys gave no quarter to each other. They received no quarter from each other. And when the 30 minutes of this action was over, the respect that everybody had for each other was just like, you guys, like Shota and Yuya were like, you guys lost, but we need you in New Japan because the competition that you provide is what makes this place go. And then you're going to talk about their backstage, their comments and all here. But this is the kind of match that I need more of in 2026 in New Japan. This is strong style. This is what we're talking about here when it's like, we're here for these matches. This is what I'm talking about. This is what got me into New Japan in the first place.
So afterwards, Taichi shook hands and hugged each of them. And Ishii, of course, stayed in character and left. He didn't stick around. But that's not really his thing. Taichi, more the mentor, really putting the guys over with handshakes and hugs. And Uemura got on the microphone and said that he's been very frustrated by the losses. He's sick and tired of losing. And he asked Shota if he was sick and tired of it as he was, and then basically went nose to nose with Shota, sort of visually challenging Shota. Do you have it to step up? Do you got what it takes to step up?
Right.
Umino then gets on the microphone and said he's tired of being laughed at and booed. He's pissed off. And the old loser Shota Umino, his words, he called himself a loser, ends here today at Korakuen. And it's going to be something new going forward. Here's the thing, Jeremy. That's all fine and good. This match was excellent. It was a really, really good match. The people did not pay to see it. And somehow in one of the biggest population centers on earth, they could barely get 1,000 people to show up for this thing. They are not draws. The crowd does not believe in them. Here's what's here's the thing. Either Umino and Uemura need to win these titles from Yudo Ice and Oscar, or one of them needs to turn on the other.
Yep.
One of those two things. Anything else is unacceptable, because if they lose again and just do that bland, nobody believes it horse crap of I am going to use this as motivation to come back strong.
It would tell you everything that is happening is right back to where we were before the Tanahashi retirement. It would have just been, a smoke and mirrors exercise in booking just to kind of test the waters rather than a commitment in moving forward. The reality is Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura have never won a title in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Right? The Knockout Brothers, they don't need to keep the titles right now. But if they were to keep the titles, there needs to be a cataclysmic circumstance in which this breaks one of these two guys. It's like, you don't do a promo like this and don't have any consequences. Either they win or they lose their goddamn minds.
Yeah.
And if you don't get one of those reactions prior to the New Japan Cup, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, one of these guys ought to turn heel and win the New Japan Cup. That really should be what happens here. Or they win and become the tag champs, and stop freaking losing. But anything else is unacceptable.
The entire mission statement this year needs to be creating viable challengers for Yota Tsuji for him to go through, so that when there is a guy at the end of the G1 or at the end of Wrestle Kingdom next year, he can lose and drop the title and make the next guy, and then create like a dynasty of challengers back and forth. But right now, you need to create a guy. You have Yota Tsuji, and now you need to create a bunch of challengers. Right now, I don't see any challengers. Where do we go from there?
Yeah, well, I think they're brewing some up, and if you look at
They
the card,
but
if you look at the card at New Beginning, you know who the next one is.
You know what I'm saying, though. But like, you could only do Jake Lee once or twice. After that, you're either going to need Shota or Yuya as being one of those guys that people are going to be clamoring for down the line as a matchup for. It's
going to be Newman. He's got the special singles match that he's going to win earlier in the night.
So, sure, at some point, like before
he's by the end of New Beginning. End of New Beginning, he's out there.
I hear you, but I'm saying it's like going into Dominion, who's going to be the Yoda-Tsuji opponent? Going into like post G1.
Right.
You're not going to have Jake Lee. You're not going to have Cal Newman. You're not going to have Evil. Like the Bullet Club guys. At some point, Yoda-Tsuji and Shota Umino is going to happen. At some point, Yoda-Tsuji and Yuya Uemura is going to happen. The only question is who's going to be the heel and who's going to be the babyface.
Yeah. And so let's get to some comments because some people have some interesting things to say about this one. Jordan from Canada mentions that Oiwa and Ice have great heat and chemistry. Yeah, they do. I think those two are going to be rivals.
Fire and Ice.
My frustration with pinning Oiwa is because I really like the guy. I just think it's time to do more with him. So please don't take that as me saying anything other than I think Oiwa should be treated better. He says, but anyway, back to Jordan. He says, I love contrast in backgrounds and upbringing, and they certainly have that. Though I feel there may be some mutual respect. I think so too. And I think those two really do work well together. And they have gone off a little bit on each other about their backgrounds because, Nakashima was, Ice was not from a good background, did not behave himself very well. Whereas you get the idea that Oiwa was the equivalent of the homecoming king. And the goody two shoes, a bit of a guy, and a little more privileged. His family did a little better as far as money goes than Yuya. So you get Utah's, so you get all that. And Turin mentions, do the people even have their minds open to cheer Shota again? The guy feels cursed even if they win the title.
Cheered him in that tag match. I could hear him. I could hear that crowd yelling Shota and Taichi looking around like, oh, you're getting cheers, huh?
It's a challenge though, because he has failed so many times because of booking. He's a good wrestler. We saw the match. These guys can wrestle their asses off. The booking has made these two so weak by having them come up short time and time again, and then just having them do that lame young lioness promos, just like, I'm going to take this. And if you lose constantly and then you step up and say, I'm going to lead Hantai into the future, the fans are just going to be like, the hell you are. You can't trip over. You're tripping over your own shoelaces constantly. That's what's got to stop. The talent is absolutely there. And some of the other things. Jordan says, the curious case of Shota Umino, I like him personally. And he says, did you guys enjoy the period where he was lost and shaved his head and had some edge?
Oh, I absolutely loved that it led to nothing.
Well, yeah, it should have been better than it was. It was something. It was something. And then he just grew his hair back like it hadn't happened. It's like they dropped the whole thing. I was excited about it when it happened because I just thought, okay, now we're going to relaunch the dude. And instead, he ended up just doing the exact same stuff. Again, the booking killed him here. It was really bad. And he said it was the last time. And then Turin just says, I think the last time I cared for Shota is when he had a dynamic with Mox. That was the last time the crowd was into him because he was the plucky underdog guy kind of hanging around with a guy who was a pseudo bad influence. And he was giving Shota a bit of an edge. But this Tanahashi light, watered down, mealy mouth version of Shota just annoyed everybody, including Shota.
We might be circling that eclipse again because they're turning Moxley babyface in AEW, and if they turn Shota heel in New Japan, it could be time.
And Nick mentions that Yuto Ice already feels like he has a generational rival to everybody else. He has a built-in backstory with all of them.
He's the generational bad guy that I think this company needs right now. I think eventually he's going to get cheered, but right now, I think he's the catalyst for people to rise up against.
He's just such a great contrast to him. Also, yeah. I mean, you've got the whole thing with Umino, Uemura, and Oiwa all look like they could be contestants on a reality show to try to be a good guy pro wrestler. They have great builds. They're they have the hair and they've they wrestle well and they do all the things right. And they say all the things about wanting to take New Japan to new heights. And Yudo's over sitting there. He looks like he's out of shape, although he isn't, right? He doesn't have that body. He's got this attitude that he picked up both from being a bit of a miscreant on the streets of Japan, and then he tapped into that culture, that kind of a underground culture in England a bit, the counterculture in England, and brought that back with him.
Right.
And while there, I mean, he's, there's pictures of him like, drinking a beer and smoking a cigarette with his buddies when he's a teenager. Whereas like you always get the idea that Oiwa, Umino, and Uemura were being shuttled to their private coaches at the academies.
And apologizing for speaking out of turn.
While Yudo is taking a leak on the building that they're working out in. Like that's always the dynamic of them. And it's such a great contrast. It really works. And Makabe and Tanahashi, right? I mean, the Unchained Gorilla versus the perfect right down the middle, take pictures with your kids babyface. That contrast always helps. It's helped to have that contrast. It's another thing that Shota and Uemura don't have right now is that contrast, which is why one of them needs to turn on the other. But don't waste more time with these guys. Uemura is 30 years old. Shota is going to turn 29 this year. They're too old to be young talent. Got to go.
Speaking of not wasting time, did you catch how much time in-ring that the second night in Korakuen actually had? Just over an hour of in-ring time for the entire card.
And 1,200 showed up for this one. So a little bit better than the night before, but not good. To give you an idea, someone asked earlier about how Stardom is doing. Stardom's putting about 1,400 to 1,500 in there every single time. Hey. Thank you very much. And so are the other companies, by the way. All Japan's doing that. Noah's doing that. The only company that's not thriving right now is our own New Japan. Come on, guys. Get your crap together. It's not the pro wrestling industry in Japan. It's you. You're the problem, New Japan. And we are rooting for you to get out of this morass because there are wrestling fans that if you give them something to watch, they'll show up for it. Now, second night at Korakuen took place, and there was some good action on this one, but, the Young Lion Cup, we mentioned chalk. So Shomakato beat the less experienced Masatori Yasuda with an armbar. Kato survived a long Boston Crab spot to win that one. And then he will go on to the finals to face Tetsuya Murashima, who defeated Daiki Nagai. Tough couple days for Nagai. Gets blistered in a chair and just kind of gets punted into the semifinals and then loses to Murashima. And the story really was that Nagai couldn't take him, that he was always cut off by Murashima's power and his strength. And really, he was pretty ineffective against him. So Murashima versus Kato, that's the two most experienced young lions. Both of them are talking about wanting to win and go on excursion. We'll find out on February 1st how that happens.
Steven, of all the young lions, it really feels bad for Daiki. He's not Nagai.
Oh, my God. I walked right into it. All right. Then we had, speaking of Shota Umino, so the next match, I don't know why this happened. It was the Knockout Brothers, Oscar and Ice. They faced Shota Umino and Tatsuya Matsumoto. Yuya is standing there on the outside doing absolutely nothing, looking like a putz. Shota Umino doesn't do anything in the match. I think he got knocked off the apron. Then they beat the living hell out of Matsumoto and beat him in 1 minute, 26 seconds. Could not have made Umino and Uemura look like bigger yutzes.
I appreciate that they just gave Knockout Brothers a squash match. And, they found some scenario where they could make it work, and it's like Yuya Uemura with his hair up in the Tanahashi ponytail, at ringside, and Shota Umino can't catch a break. Every time he gets up on the ring apron, he just gets kicked right off by Oscar, and they murder Matsumoto. And I'm just like, you know what? They don't do it often, but I'm here for it.
Oh, I was not. I was just like, could you make the challengers look worse? And Nick just mentions the most Knockout Brothers are obligated to wrestle at one of these Korakuen shows match ever booked. It was an off night for everybody. Let's see. Turn, it says, I wonder how much management is affecting the product. I remember snippets from Kevin Kelly's podcast where he talked negatively about ownership. I think everybody's wondering that and just where their heads are in a lot of this stuff. And you're right. There have been some anecdotes that have come from that makes you think that there are indeed people at Bushy Road overseeing this company that don't quite understand the wrestling side of it.
Boy, Kevin Kelly doesn't think he's ever working for the company ever again.
Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about that. I don't think Kevin needs to. I don't think Kevin needs to worry about updating his passport to go to Japan. Do you? Well, anyway.
I have nothing to add.
Yeah, nothing to add there. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have there? Okay. Then there was a 8-man tag. We added a Death Valley driver to Aaron Wolf's list. Not bad again. But again, a lot of this stuff is just pretty basic preview tag. Shingo,
here's a little note. Here's a little historical note. This may be Evil's last match in New Japan.
Could turn out that way. Be
He's
weird.
Not on any other match card going forward.
Would be weird if it were.
But that's it. Just unceremoniously.
Yeah, and very much not much a part of this one. And again, there was a little bit more work, by the way, on Shingo Takagi and United Empire's stuff. They worked the ribs, which makes me even more sure it was a worked injury and not a knee that went wrong the day before, because most of this match was them pounding away at the very area that he allegedly injured.
This actually is like kind of something that I need to point out, in which the black and white lion mark was used for only the most serious things. Like, we're not fucking with you. This is a bad news situation. But since Goto got injured last year and they wrote him off for the Street Fighter movie, and now they're using the black and white lion mark for this worked injury for Shingo, you just need to change your mentality and your perspective on how they use that, because they are clearly not treating it the way that they did 2 years ago.
Yeah, it can be kayfabe. It can be kayfabe. Just keep that in mind going forward. It's worth mentioning. Yeah. And then we had the junior heavyweight tag team title match. This was a good match. Not the greatest, but it was good.
Fine.
It was fine. Exactly. Kosei Fujita and Robbie Eagles against House of Torture, that being Sho and Yoshinobu Kanemaru in this instance. Not too much House of Torture BS, but it was coming, just not in this match. TMDK were portrayed as strong champions here. This is what I took away from it, though, Jeremy. They won. They hit their big finisher, which I'm blanking on the name of it now. What's it? The Thrill Ride. The Thrill Ride? Is it Thrill Ride?
So, yeah.
Anyway, terrific move. And Thrill Ride. This felt to me more that Eagles and Fujita are strong champions, and this is no longer a situation where we have an overachieving young lion. We're done with that part of it. Kosei Fujita is just a legit, terrific
guy. He
champion.
Could be the guy.
He is a champion level wrestler now, and it's not like, wow, look at what this young lion is doing. It's like, no, these guys won the titles. They had a challenger. They out wrestled them and beat them. And this is not some underdog thing where Fujita had to wrestle from the bottom and overcome and get a miracle shot to win it. These guys had a decisive victory against people that have been in this title picture. So to me, that was the takeaway from here, is that Fujita's, we knew he was legit. We knew he was talented. I'm talking about his portrayal in the booking. Not an overachieving young lion anymore, but just a legitimate junior tag team.
Yeah, they're positioning him not as he is yet to achieve these glories. They're treating him as if, no, this guy is as good as he says he is.
Yeah, and I think Nick Reeves kind of captures it nicely here. And this is a good contrast to what's coming next. There's a distinct difference between HOT cheating matches and HOT interference matches for him. And Nick says, I think the cheating matches, which are closer to normal matches, work far better. I agree with that. It's a lot of the gaga with the ref bumps and interference from 6 people while the referee is barely distracted that doesn't work. This one did. This one did a little bit more. So the junior heavyweight title match, Doki and El Desperado, it went 16 and a half minutes that felt like 30. Just like the match earlier the night before went 30 and felt like 15. This is the opposite. This was tons of House of Torture crap. And I was onto it immediately. Not that we're surprised, but Marty Asami was the ref and not Red Shoes. So we're doing some bumping. And yeah, this was garbage. This is just so much House of Torture crap. They sent Aaron Wolf out and Wato to get some babyface pops by beating him up a little bit, bouncing him around a little bit, bumping House of Torture, then each of them grabbing a headlock and walking out with them, which is completely believable. But they got rid of all of them, except they don't, right? Because every time someone does that, another member of House of Torture just comes down like 2 minutes later, and it was all for nothing. interference, objects, bunch of crap, a Black Mirror shot, Daybreak on it for 2, low blow, suplex de la Luna. I've said this until I'm blue in the face. This used to be one of my favorite rivalries in all of New Japan, and now I just wince when it's coming up.
They have definitely killed it dead.
This was rotten, and maybe from some of the comments that Doki and Desperado have made, there could be a mask versus mask match down the line, but I hope it's way down the line because I don't want to see this anymore. I don't want to see Desperado have to do bad matches like this anymore.
This has just been a snake bit feud since Wrestle Kingdom last year. And
yeah.
As much as we all dreamed of it being one of the coolest feuds that they could have, it just has not worked out. And that's unfortunate, but it's wrestling. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah. And I have been saying it so much that putting him in House of Torture was just a terrible decision. Should have been in unaffiliated. So
right, I got match cards to run down for I think the first and the second for you, and then
let's take a look. Well, I want to mention this though. The schedule, it's not going to be on NJPW World, but they are touring this week. NJPW World is done for the month of January, but just so you know, they're in the weekend. They will be in Miyajima around the Hiroshima area for the big boat race, and you see Boat Race as a sponsor and things, and they're actually going to have a ring set up, and they're going to do like 3 matches each day, 6-man tags, probably a lot of just basic stuff, but it's a part of the big boat race in Miyajima. And if you look at it online, this is a big event in the water out there, and they have boat races, different classes and different competitions going on, and it's sort of a weekend festival that New Japan is a part of, and they're sponsors in New Japan as well. That's coming up.
I'm legitimately excited that next week we're going to figure out what we're going to talk about for 90 minutes.
No, we're going to have plenty to preview because Wednesday the 28th there'll be in Aomori, Thursday the 29th there'll be in Iwate. Now those aren't on NJPW World, but we will be previewing the first 2 days back in Korakuen Hall. God help us. February 1st at Korakuen Hall, February 2nd at Korakuen Hall. Jeremy, talk to us a little bit about what we are going to see.
So on February 1st, we're going to have the main event of Yota Tsuji and Ishimori versus Jake Lee and Francisco Akira. As you have been seeing that they've been really setting up Akira and Ishimori as a rivalry. After that, we got Finlay coming back, and he will be tagging with Hiromu and our favorite lawn dart tag team versus Jacob Austin Young and Callum Newman. So that'll be fun for that one. After that, we've got some House of Torture versus Hontai with Aaron Wolf leading a group of Toru Yano, Yo, and Master Wado against Ren Narita, Yujiro Takahashi, Doki, and Dick Togo. Also on that card, we got Drilla Maloney, Daiki Nagai, and Robbie X versus Hanare, Grado Khan, and the newest member of United Empire, Zane J. If you can hear, my dog is going nuts because he's getting real hungry and he is just crying. So don't mind me. He's going to have to learn to live with disappointment here. After that, we've got Goto, we got Yoshihashi, we got Bolt Nola again. We got Ryosuke Taguchi versus TMDK's Zack Sabre Jr., Ryohei Oiwa, Hartley Jackson, and Kosei Fujita. And then opening the card is Tiger Mask, Shota and Yuya versus the Knockout Brothers and Geto, reminding us once again that the Knockout Brothers are with the Unbound Company because they've literally done almost no coordination, reminding us what group they're affiliated with. But if I had to guess, they might not be affiliated with Unbound Company for too long.
We'll have to see. Yeah. And on the second.
And then we have the Young Lions final.
Young Lion Cup. Yeah.
So I think that is Murashima versus Shomakato.
Yeah, exactly.
Next night we have the main event. I believe is Goto versus Ryohei, and honestly, I'm really excited for this one match more than any of the other matches.
It's going to be a good match. Absolutely. In fact, the top 2 matches are probably going to be excellent because the other one is Zack Sabre Jr. versus Yoshihashi. And we know those two know what they're doing.
Absolutely. And then after that, we're going to have Bolt Nolan versus Hartley Jackson. Hartley Jackson.
Before that, by the way, we're doing these cards backwards. So we're going.
Yeah, I went from the top down on both of these cards so that the main event. So we need to skip over any of the other stuff we could. Hartley Jackson and Bolton Oleg. Hartley Jackson is by far the upset special in here. I wouldn't rule it out, but I'm pretty sure this is a Bolton Oleg showcase here. And we got 8-man action. We got Yota Tsuji, we got Drill Maloney, we got Taiji Ishimori, and we got Robbie X versus United Empire, Jake Lee, Hinare, Great Khan, and Zane Jay. After that, we got a 6-man action. We got David Finlay, Hiromu Takahashi, we got Geto. They'll be facing United Empire's Callum Newman, Francisco Akira, and Jacob Austin Young. We got more House of Torture action, running back that same pretty much matchup we had the night before of Aaron Wolf, Yano, Yo, and Master Watto versus Ren Narita. We got Yoshinobu Kanemaru, we got Dick Togo, and we got Doki in that match. And then we're running back yet another match from the night before. It, I believe, is Shota, Yuya, and Matsumoto versus the Knockout Brothers and Taiki.
That's Yasuda.
Yasuda, God! Every time. I keep telling people I'm 50-50 on remembering these guys' names as they get it, and I'm always embarrassed when you have to correct me. But Daiki Nagaya is going to be joining the Knockout Brothers in that match as well. And then we have the card for the New Beginning in Osaka.
Yeah. We'll get to all that another time, though. I mean, we've got a long way, so that's not until February 11th, so we're running out.
The card is out, everybody, and it's a banger.
Yeah. Nick Reeves mentioned that Ishimori is going to get his face smashed, he says. Well, I hope not, but I'll tell you what, as long as they don't touch his abs, because believe me, I've seen them. They're more glorious in person. And he also says
Baby Oil will get that shirt clean.
It looks like they're setting up Watto as Doki's next challenger, so that could be it. And then Jeremy had a last question. He said, I have a question. Do you think Tana will be a good president? I don't know. Wrestlers don't make good bosses. There have been outstanding bosses that have been wrestlers. Bill Watts was great at that. Eddie Graham was a great boss and a great wrestler. It's happened. And I mean, Inoki did pretty well for himself. So did Giant Baba in Japan, just to use something a little bit closer to home. The one thing that I wanted to mention about Tanahashi, he's had a rough time so far. And when we had our discussion with Dave Meltzer, I mentioned that he needs to turn things around or it'll be remembered as a disaster, because they had an objectively bad year last year, financially, attendance-wise, all that. Here's the thing. He's not wrestling anymore. He doesn't have to think about that. So here's why I at least leave a little bit of optimism. I have a little bit of faith in the guy in that now he's not booking his own retirement anymore. He can just focus on the company itself. We're going to find out is my answer. I think he could be. He hasn't been yet. He hasn't been a good president yet. The company hasn't done well with him. Going forward, though, now he doesn't have that distraction. He can now just do that job. He doesn't have to tour unless he wants to. He can just work on the office and he can figure out what needs to be done going forward with his creative team. If he can do that, if he can right that ship, he'll be remembered as a good one. Tatsumi Fujinami did all right, but there have been guys that have done this well. I think it's too early to tell, because that first year he was trying to serve two masters, which is be the main event wrestler who was showing up for the last time in all these towns. There was a lot on his mind, and now he can just run the company. If we have a year that is as bad as or worse than 2025, probably going to have our answer. But he's got this year to figure it out.
I tend to agree with pretty much everything that you said. I'm optimistic now that he's hung up the boots that he is he's going to do a better job than he did beforehand. I generally get that sense that now that he's focused on making the rest of New Japan better and not his own victory lap, which by all means, like that company made a ton of money off of his victory lap. So you do what you got to do to get the most profitable year possible. And that's how you do it last year. This is where, it's his time to be tested and his time to shine. All I know is that this guy right here, the only way that he'll say that Tanahashi is a good president is if he feeds him within the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then Turn asks, he can't control the booking though, right? Well, here's the thing. He's the president
He's in the
of
booking committee.
It certainly is. And I mean,
he's like one of 5 people in the booking committee.
The president of the company can veto anything at any time. I mean, like, it's not like he is powerless because, our bookers have decided this guy's going to win. Just like Vince McMahon, excuse me, or Vince McMahon or Triple H right now, if the booking committee comes to him and says, we're going to put over this guy, he can just cross his arm and say, no, you're not. Back to work.
Yeah, the idea that Ghetto's not unilaterally booking the vision of New Japan. There's like 5 people involved in this. Yeah. And I keep forgetting who they are from time to time, but Like Kikuchi's in there, Tanahashi's in there, Ghetto's in there.
Where does Yano and all that stuff?
Yeah, Yano, Nagata, I think.
Yeah,
it's a group of people who've been there a very long time and understand how this business works intrinsically well in Japan and know what it takes to get people over. So hopefully this is their time to prove that they're not full of shit.
Yeah, and but that's the thing. Think of him as more of an editor-in-chief. Whereas, the editor-in-chief of a magazine is the final authority on what goes in. He's the final authority on what gets printed. Tanahashi is probably the final authority. He's going to let them handle a lot of it, but nothing's going to go on those shows that he doesn't approve of. It's got to go through him. All right. And I'll remain hopeful too. Turin says I'll remain hopeful. I will too. Let's give him some time to focus only on the job he's got now. So we'll see how it goes. All right. So with that in mind, we are going to go from here. Nothing on NJPW World this week. Go catch up on Stardom, Marigold, TJPW, Noah, All Japan, whatever you like. But we will be here to preview what is coming up as we get closer to some pretty important new beginning shows and a couple of Korakuen Hall events. And we'll recap what happened.
Some more enlightenment on who's staying and who's going. More context. We can talk about that a little bit more. I'm sure that the information superhighway is suddenly going to bottle up and nothing's going to come out over the next week.
Well, I don't know. We're about to have another ice storm. The last time it paralyzed all of Texas.
Oh yeah, good luck in Texas. Stay safe this weekend, buddy.
I'm hoping the power.
I have not checked the weather for me, but it's not that.
Good. Well, good. We'll see how it goes. Hope everybody out there remains safe as well. So with that in mind, we'll be back next week to cover all that. Any other news that comes up, we're going to be here talking about it. Thanks to everybody who joined us here live in the chat. We really appreciate you. If you're listening to this later, either on YouTube or as a podcast, we're very grateful for your time. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be back next week. So for Jeremy Finestone, I'm Stephen Conway. This has been Speaking of Strong Style, and we will talk to you again real soon.